Hello and welcome. Stand Up World, episode 45. I hope you're happy and safe and well in a crazy time in the world. But there's always time for laughter, I hope, I think. Say hello to Patrick Arnold from Boston.
What's
from
up,
New
Mike?
York, in Boston, coming to us from Boston. The producer of the show, who his father is a billionaire and has promised that he will fund a movie for me if I let his son produce my podcast. And so far, it has not paid off. But he's done a prince of a job producing the podcast, right, Patrick?
Yeah, your contract's not fulfilled yet, so that's why the check hasn't cleared.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
But listen, if you're new to the show, we just love stand-up comedy. You know, we love talking to comedians about the art and craft of stand-up comedy. We love the new world of comedy. We love the big shots. We love the not so big shots. We like guys from my era, the new era, everybody. You know, we think it's an important part of the culture. People that can just stand at a microphone and have some fun. And today we have a guy, a Michigan boy, which I relate to, John Heffron, who's been in the business a long time, been doing stand-up for many, many years. In fact, his mother and my father used to work together. He'll tell the story, I believe. But he's started in the clubs in Detroit, and he's had quite a career, and he's going to talk to us about it. He's got a great new special up now at 800 Pound Gorilla called One Night in DC that I really enjoyed a lot. And he really, you can watch it and like a Greg Warren or a Nate Bargatze, or, you know, you can really feel someone who's loves the craft and has worked it for so long. But it's up there if you want to check it out. But he's here with us now. John Heffron. John Heffron. Hello.
How are you,
How
sir?
are you, man? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. I thought about you today. Went into my I actually wear this shirt. You probably know this name. You've probably driven past this in your lifetime. So Giannopolis's restaurant.
Yes, actually.
There used to be. So do you know the origin story of how I started doing comedy?
Not really.
Not.
You told me. I know your mother. I know your mother and my father worked together.
You actually weirdly started it. Not weirdly. My mom worked for Binder Building. And I was a kid. I don't know our ages at the time, but you came in to visit maybe an uncle or I don't know who it was, right? So I lived in this apartment complex with my mom, and your brother lived like 2 floors up or maybe in the next building. You came, you were telling my mom a bit, and I didn't understand what you did for a job. I was like, what does he do? and she's like, well, he's a stand-up comic. He's done this. And I'm like, I don't get like. So you get in front, like I'm just maybe 12 or 13. I don't know, but I wasn't exposed to stand-ups unless you stayed up and watched the Tonight Show. So you left, and I go, what does he do? And then the next day, my mom bought me George Carlin plays for my stuff, Steve Martin, and then I think the first Eddie Murphy thing. And that's what got me into stand-up. So literally hearing you, I think, again, who's ever you're related to's office, my mom was there. I was just putzing around.
My
I used to
dad's
take,
office.
yeah, for the departments that were on by Giannopolis. So that's the origin story. And then you came to my very first TV taping. I think my mom called you and you showed up for it. I don't know if you remember.
What was it?
Boy, I'm going to age myself if I tell you that my first TV show, it was Evening at the Improv. That's how old I am.
Wow.
You
Wow, no,
came to
that's
it. You
great.
you were at my first. You came to it, and you were
Wow.
like, "Nice job." After, and I was like nervous and scared. I think it was like 20 or something. Was living in Michigan. Went to LA. Shot my first TV show. Bill Maher hosted.
That's
And I was like,
great.
"This is nobody in LA." I literally shot that show. Nobody talked to me. Bud Friedman like walked by. Maher said nothing to me. Like none of the other comics did. And I got back on a flight and flew back to Detroit. Went okay. I did TV.
That's the way it was back then, man. I'll tell you. And also I remember. I'm surprised I was even there because at the time at the Improv, I never went to the Improv. That was like that was the middle of the, like going in the Civil War, going down to the South if you fought for the North. You know.
Yeah. Well, my mom had a strong personality. So if she had anything to do with it, I don't know if you had a choice.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's
Yeah.
right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
She would have
remember.
like, right. She
And
could
my
have
dad
just,
had a strong personality, and I think my dad was just saying, "You're going."
yeah.
But
So
but I
that,
yeah, I think I ended up doing the evening at the Improv a little bit later. But it's funny you say that. It's because it's so true. When you're a kid, when you first hear, I remember when I was a kid in Detroit, there was a place called Baker's Keyboard Lounge. Do you know where that is at all? It was in Eight
no.
Mile in Livernois. And it was not far from where we lived. We lived at 7 Mile in Livernois. And I used to ride my little bike, and I was like maybe 8 or 9, 10 years old. I don't even know. And there was a marquee there up one night, and it said Comic Lenny Bruce. Okay.
Right.
And I came home and I said to my dad, "What is Comic Lenny Bruce? What does that mean?" What?
Right.
Because I knew that they were jazz musicians. What's a comic? He
Yeah.
said he's a guy. He's a comedian. He stands on stage. Same thing. I said, well, what
Yeah.
is that? I said, that's a job. He
Yeah.
goes, yeah. And then not long after that, Woody Allen came on Ed Sullivan, and my dad said, called me in the room. He goes, "This is what you asked me about," and that's how. And I was like, okay, I want to do that.
Wow. Yeah, and that was back when, I mean, I had zero exposure to stand up. That there was no the comedy anything unless you stayed up for the Tonight Show. So so I always wonder that with kids now, like there's such a huge comedy boom because you're so exposed to everybody. But I was doing shows. Listen, I'm a club actor, right? I was on TV for about a second for a summer in 2004. You know, I had I feel like I'm the Bull Durham career where I made it to the show for like a week and then I got sent back down to the minors, and then I tell everybody, well, this is how you handle it. But kids now have so much exposure that the writing that, you know, comics do now are hilarious. And it's changed. Like, I know you talk a lot about this on your podcast, but I remember working with like Carol Leifer, and, you know, I was a young kid, like emceeing, and I go, how long does it take you to become a headliner? And I remember her going 12 years. And I was like, man, 12 years? I'm not putting 12 years into this. This is horrible, right? I'm getting paid 25, but like, this is horrible. But now I don't think it's not measured by years. It's measured by followers. You can become a headliner in a month if you have, you know, a couple million followers on anything that will show up in a room.
Yeah, I
That's
think
me
so,
being a
and
little
that's
bit
what's
a little
interesting.
jelly. Yeah.
No, it's a little bit, and I hear you. And again, I'm so fascinated with this new world, and then especially when you think about how every decade the technology changes, and the world of stand up changes with it. And yes, you can have a million followers, but you can't really headline until you've gone into the clubs and become a club act. So you can sell tickets, but
Yeah. Once. Yeah.
you know, if you can't deliver the goods, they're not coming back.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, there's this guy Trevor Wallace who do you know him at all?
No.
And there's this he's been playing the clubs in LA, and he's got millions of YouTube followers, but he's really developed the goods as a stand-up comic, and
Right.
he's paid his dues, And
And like,
my thing always was it took 20 years to be great as a comedian.
yeah,
And you're right, but I saw guys become headliners in comedy clubs in 3 years. They
right.
just if they had tapes and if they had songs and a guitar and they could get up there,
Yeah. Yeah.
they
I
could
got it.
do an hour.
I think comedy now with however the technology changes, I always think of it. It was probably like how the vaudeville guys switched to radio, then the radio guys switched to TV. And, sometimes you're in between each one of those and you can't, some guys, you can't do that trend. Like when I was on Last Comic Standing, we had 22 million viewers. It was, there wasn't streaming services, but it was on in 2005. So there was no social media for anybody to follow you on, right? And then as like 5 years later, when Eliza and a bunch of other people won, that they're starting to be. I mean, I had a killer MySpace page back then, and then after that,
You know what I love as we're talking about this, John? You know what I love as we're having this conversation about the decades and everything? You're fading in and out on your bandwidth like you're like a guy who you can't decide which decade you want to be in. You're coming back from the 90s and you're coming in and out. You're going, oh, and I had a good time back then.
And then it's like, yeah, if my dad doesn't kiss my mom at the dance, I disappear. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Like I'm fading away. Crap. I gotta go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll try to move
so
less.
funny.
Yeah, it's farm life in Michigan. This internet is literally. I'm on AOL dial-up, so and I got like 15 extra minutes for this month just for this podcast.
That's what I figured.
Yeah,
I figured. No, I have a feeling what's going on is your neighbors are watching a lot of porn right now.
Yeah. Or I got it like right here, and so if my eye line gets weird, I have this AI thing set up, so you think I'm looking at you, but I'm looking. Yeah, boy, what do you do to shoplifters now? It's crazy. I don't even know how that's legal. Yeah.
No, but I was going to say, well, you said something earlier. You said, I in 2004, I think you said, I had a good year on TV and I went to the show, but that's not the show anymore. That was one thing that I find about a lot of people from my time. They still think like that, but the guys that are really like John, look at your specials. You've got millions of views on your specials, and you're in an era. You go on the Tonight Show now, and it means nothing.
Yeah,
you go on that. The show is this, not this podcast, because you're playing right now to dozens of people.
Yeah. And
but, but you know what I'm saying? This world, this new world of social media and what it's becoming is right now that world doesn't exist anymore. I remember we all wanted to be on the Tonight Show so bad, and we all wanted a sitcom so bad. And then even when I was out of it and just was friends with me, everybody wanted a Netflix special so bad. And now, I'm back doing it now. I don't care about anybody discovering me or wanting me or anything. I just want to be good and I'll do my own shit, you know, and you've got to build and the people I really respect are doing their own thing. There is no show anymore. You're the show.
Yeah, and it's that I did the Tonight Show that way, and I remember doing my 5 minutes or 4.5, and they wanted me to do the Tim Allen thing where they wanted what would my sitcom be in that 4.5 minutes. So I had to come up with like a tagline. In that 4.5 minutes, I'm like, boy, when you get married, your wife makes you get rid of your roommate. I miss Rob. I love my wife, but I miss Rob, or whatever the thing is. And they're like, okay, that's the show. You're a guy who gets in, and you had to figure that out. But now, yeah, you don't have to do that. And it's so nice. I know so many great
You
young
miss
comics.
your roommate so bad.
Yeah.
But at the end of the 3rd episode, you figure out you're gay.
Yeah, and then it comes back.
That's
Yeah,
the show.
see, that would sell. Yeah, but there's so many great young comics that they put on their own shows. I was working with this MC kid who goes, "I can't be with you tomorrow. We're doing a cabin show." I go, "What's that?" He goes, "We just have everybody show up at this cabin and we perform on the deck, and then people Venmo us the money." And I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. Next day he shows up. I go, "How'd your cabin show go?" He goes, "Good. We made like $3,000. I'm like, what? But like he was making $25 to MC at the club, and goes, "Yeah, I did my own thing, whatever selling out the woods is. I don't even know what how many people you can fit in the woods, but made like $3,000, and he does this podcast that's got 100 million downloads, and it's great. It's like, man, yeah, it'd be a great time to be starting comic. I might identify as a new comic, like starting tomorrow. I think it might just identify as a new one, just start over.
But I don't know. I mean, I was just looking at like some of your specials have so many millions of views, and your new one is already like crammed. But it's only been up for a couple weeks, which is really funny, by the way. I really liked it. You shot it in DC, which I was going to ask you, why did you shoot it in DC?
Because the record company found a club that would let me do it on a Sunday. I've always wanted to shoot a special in Michigan. I'm from Michigan. I have hilarious cold weather material that doesn't translate when I do a special in Arizona. And one day I'll have the power to shoot it at Ridley's. I still, at the Comedy Castle in Michigan, is the club that I started, was the first place that I ever got to headline. I would just love to shoot a special there. Try to get.
Well,
Mark
why he wouldn't let you shoot it there?
No one that like the record companies or the people who did the special. It's funny that the special that I have, I released one a couple months ago, but the one I released before that was from an album, and I had the video for it, and I just said, "Can I just throw this up on YouTube? No one's listening to my album." And that's when all the comic stuff got taken off of all the Pandora's and it's Sirius and stuff. So I just threw up this one shot. It looks like security footage at the Comedy Works in Denver, and that's almost up to 2 million. And it's a really good special. Like, I'm really proud that one. You know how you just
special too. Yeah,
you just have some years where you're just
I like the DC one better.
Oh, do you? Yeah, I'm going through a thing
they're both
where
good. I like the.
Oh, that's great to hear. I'm sorry, it's my dial-up. I'm going through a stage as a comic where you go, as a 50-something, what do you talk about on stage? Because I've always been a super clean comic, but, not overly edgy. I always say I'm like the Matchbox 20 of comedy. I don't try to step on people's, I don't try to step on toes. Like I've done that for 33 years, and it served me. I do so much corporate work. Like, that's one of the reasons why I never really did TV, is because I made so much in the corporate thing. I'm like, this is easier than, I'm not an actor, so this is easier. I just go perform for all these, after the luncheon and make bank. But, yeah, I'm going through a transition stage, which, will be fun. I just got to kill like 6 years, and then I can do the Villages in Florida. But I'm in this weird gray area right now.
I just also think, I don't know. I really think it's like a lot of it is you just have to kind of do your own thing and go and just live your own life. And like, there's a guy like that I really have been turned on to lately, and it's a lot like music was, like Greg. Do you know a guy named Greg Warren?
Yeah, he's a super good friend. He's from Ohio State, but so you got to give him that, one little notch down. But he's super funny. And what's that?
Wait, he's from Ohio State? I thought he was from St. Louis.
I thought he was from Ohio. Did he wrestle for Ohio? I don't know. Okay, you know what? I'll call him and apologize for. but he's a guy that we ran together in his special. This is what makes all this technology and what's happening now awesome. You could be like, I saw your podcast with Upton, which is such a great story. You know, that guy was a road guy, and then he with his dry bar comedy crushed it, had a super funny one. And that, you know, boom, now he's in this next level. Same thing that just happened with Greg, I think. You know, Greg was a road warrior like me, and that special he did was so good. It was so good that, you know, you just find those waves. You just keep paddling out, you hit that wave, you go, when you go to the beach and you
Well,
decide,
that's my point.
yeah,
That's my point. And Leanne Morgan, you know, and there's just so, and I think that's what you got to do is you just got to, you can't, you know, to me, I mean, I like these guys at 800-pound gorilla.
yeah. They've done
You
all my
know, they're
albums.
kind,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't know they do albums, you know, but I know they do specials, and I guess they're a little different than Dry Bar. They feel like more Midwestern to me, you know, and you know, Mid America, and
Yeah.
I don't think the swearing is clamped down as much, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and they seem to like. What's your feeling about them?
They're great guys. They're all like, their whole organization is good. They give a lot of comics, like I keep saying road people, but young people, like, here's an album for you, which is, you know, unbelievable. By the way, like my first album, just I recorded at the Comedy Castle in 1991. It cost me, I think by the time you're done, maybe $10,000 to do. I could be wrong, but I remember it being like this earth-shattering money to me at the time. But I had to print them, and then I had print stuff. There's a record place in Michigan called Harmony House, and I had to call them and see if
Yeah,
Harmony House would put my CDs in there. Then I would call Harmony House, like, how many did I sell this week? And then the poor girl working there be like, you sold 6, John. I'm like, perfect. You know, but with 800-pound, they go to young people all the time and go, we'll shoot a special for you. And they give great deals. They don't take like all your money. They do really good stuff and go, we got a marketing team, and they, you know, they got this thing on YouTube. That's a great company. Or, you know, at least, you know, I mean, my goal was always to sell a CD at a truck stop. There was that company Laughing Hyena or something that you go to a truck stop, and it was
that's right.
comic compilation
But
CDs.
when 800-pound gorilla, it just feels like when they put the specials out like Dry Bar, you just get a bigger audience, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, because they have so many comics now that they find that algorithm that, you know, they can throw people in there, and you kind of, you know, I've stopped looking because my personality is kind of addictive in the sense of where I look and I'll see I have, you know, 200,000, then I'll look at a couple other comics and go, that dude's went out in 6 days and he's got 400,000. And so I've decided that I just stop and I'll just do my own thing, you know, and then just see what, you know,
I'll tell
what
you,
that.
you reminded me of a funny story. You know, it just everything's all the same. My first movie that I directed came out. It was a movie called Crossing the Bridge. Was a Touchstone, which was a division of Disney, and they put it out in like maybe 100 theaters around the country, which was nothing, right? And I was in Detroit, and it was at the Showcase Cinema Theaters,
Yeah,
Showcase,
yeah.
and I was back home, and you know, I was just calling around to see how it was doing, right? Just going. So I call up the Showcase. I'd driven to a couple of them, and then I called the Showcase Cinema in Southfield, and I said, hey, how is Crossing the Bridge playing tonight? He goes, yeah. I go, how is it very crowded? And he went, yeah, it's doing okay. You know, it's not a big movie. I go, like, how big? And the guy goes, is this Mike Binder?
Oh my God.
And I was so busted. I was with my brother Jack, and we were laughing so hard.
That's
The
funny.
guy, the guy goes, I was so busted. He recognized my voice somehow. I couldn't even believe that he did, you know? But I was like like I was so, I guess the word is, I don't know, nervous or impulsive or whatever, wanted to know how many seats it was filling, you know.
Yeah.
And then,
I
but that was also, I remember being around LA when you'd go to a theater in Westwood and you'd see like Barry Levinson standing outside of one of his movies to see if it was
yeah.
full, you know. So it's always the same thing, you know.
Yeah, it never. I'm at the Comedy Castle in like a week or so, and I still call. I actually literally called last Wednesday and said I'm looking to buy tickets for the John Heffron show, and she's like, "What? Which one?" I go Thursday because it's Thursdays are hard to sell, and she's like, "Yeah, there's room." And I'm like, "Oh," and then I got bummed that she didn't know that it was me. So that was it. I'm like, okay, the
Ah,
box office girl doesn't even know that it's me. That I got.
that's really funny.
Yeah, so I
That's
got to
really
call
funny.
more. Yeah. But-
And where you live now in Michigan?
So I live right outside of Ann Arbor. And I moved here right before COVID. Like, so I lived in Los Angeles, few houses from your brother. And I moved here. I'm like, I'll buy this little farmhouse here in Michigan, and it'll be my Midwest house when I'm in the touring in the Midwest and I can see my family and stuff like that. And then COVID happened. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess I live here now. And that's, when I got remarried while I was here, and we live on a beautiful farm. And it's just kind of,
That's
you
great.
know,
Wait, you
yeah.
lived near Gary or Jack?
Gary would be at my house all the time. He
Oh,
did a lot of work on my house. I lived in Woodland Hills,
oh,
in the thing. And yeah,
I get it. That's
he would
great. That's a
drive by
nice
my
area.
house and I'd wave at him. Yeah, he was, yeah, love that guy. He's one of the few people that call me Johnny in the entire world. There's literally 6 people. There's the haircut lady at Genopolis's, my mom, and your brother. There's like literally 4 people that call me
That's
Johnny.
really great. That's really
Yeah.
great. And does how about when you go on the road? Does your wife go on the road with you?
I brought her because we're newly married. We've been married for 2 years. So she only knew me during COVID, where I never left. Where prior, I was 35 weeks a year for 30 years. So then once we got married and the world started opening up, I'm like, yeah. So, like how people do stuff Thursday through Saturday, kind of when they live together. We're like more Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday people. So then I brought her on the road and you know what I mean? You bring her, like, I made not the mistake, but I brought her to some really nice corporate events where they treat you really well and you stay in nice hotels. And then there's a couple, comedy clubs where I'm like, oh yeah, you have to go to this one to see the opposite of, we were in Banff, Canada last weekend. So, a couple weeks, I'm like, I'm going to bring you to this club where they're going to charge me half for chicken tenders, because they don't like me enough just to give me free chicken tenders.
That's right. That's great. And how is she? Because like I remember when I was playing clubs and I was first married to my wife, she very quickly got to the point of, okay, I'll just stay home. I'll
Yeah.
just you'll be back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're coming back.
That's hilarious. Yeah, my wife started that where she'd go and then she'd be like, do I have to go to every show? So she's slowly scaling down. Well, she'll go with me if she can get off work, but now it's, slowly scaling down. But I've changed, like when she comes to my shows now, I've even changed my material. Like I had this weird epiphany where if my old act, I call it my past life, I would just, my whole act was relationship stuff and I'd complain about home life. But then you get a little older and you realize, man, if I'm always complaining every night on stage. So I've even switched with the perspective about marriage. And it's not so much, I take out the, men versus women, where it's kind of I kind of like where it's different to be on stage and not be that guy. Cause I tried to be that guy for like a year where I'm like the divorce guy, but boy, people they just go, yeah, we don't want to hear the divorce guy. Nothing funny comes out of the divorce guy. It's all pain, So you just go, yeah, I'm not even going to bring this
That's
up,
right. Right.
And then I tried to do one joke that I just loved doing. I'm like, well, I'm married now. I could just say, that, you know, I don't have to, I don't say wives' names. I can still do the joke. And my new wife, Michelle, saw that bit and she's like, that bit's attached to that. It's not me. I'm like, okay, good point. I had to make an artistic choice going, you know what? I don't know. Okay. All right. I see your point, and then we'll start new ones. So
That's right. That's right. Eh, 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 I just find it's better off in the other thing I find is I every time I try a joke out on my wife or a bit out, as I'm doing it, I go, what am I doing? Why did I do this? Like
right.
it's just it's just it's a exercise in pain and futility.
Do
You
you
know?
like? I've been watching your clips on because I follow you on everything, but your clips at like the Laugh Factory and stuff. You, how long of a break did you take for not doing stand up? Because you're on stage now, and
28 years.
it doesn't like
28
you're on
years.
stage now, and not it feels like you've done it forever. Like I watch it going, you know, like I did a bunch of shows with Ron White, and Ron White like retired, but now he's doing. Yeah, I would see him at Rogan's Club every single night. Like, boy, this guy works more retired than I do. As you know, did it feel good when you got on, or how when you went on stage for the first time after not whatever that was, or were you like, was it scary? I guess was my question. Or you like, nah, I'm
I didn't know
successful.
what to expect. For me, it had been so long. It had been
Yeah.
so long. And I had to write a brand new 15 minutes because, I couldn't do anything of what I had done in the last time. And I had committed to doing the show. And honestly, everything worked. I wrote, and I had written a lot of stuff, and it worked, and it was a good night, and it was at the Comedy Store, and a lot of the stuff were about being a kid here and growing up there, and
Yeah.
coming back, and I think also the audience knew, from the Comedy Store documentary, knew my story, and
Yeah.
and
That was so good.
but
By the way.
But thank you. But then when I decided to do it again, I just really made a decision that I wanted to do this, and it was something that I liked it much better than when I did it when I was younger, and I was realized that it was something that it was unfinished business for me. So yeah, I do love it. I do love it.
Did you feel less pressure to because you're a successful writer and you directed, so you got on stage probably with little more attitude, or not attitude, but confidence that you had than when you were younger because you're used to trying? Or did you feel like you have to crush? Because this, I don't know why suddenly this is a shrinks session. I still feel like that I have to crush. And I remember doing Rogan's podcast, whatever, and he said you think you have to crush all the time. You have to get over that. And maybe it's a blue collar mentality. I'm like, no, man, if I have an hour show, I don't, people paid this. I don't know if this is, where I can eat it or do my 20 minutes experimental like material. Do you have the problem, or you just get up and go, no, I just want to see if this joke works? Because did that make sense? I don't even think
I don't really feel that. I really
Gotcha.
don't. I really I don't know. I really I just want to enjoy myself, and
I know. Yeah.
I like to always have something new to say, but I don't really feel the need to crush. I feel the need to give it up, and go
Yeah.
for it. But if I don't, but if and but by the way, I think maybe you're saying crush, but even in that special I saw you do, you came out and you were honest. Hey, I put on a little weight, and why did I say this joke, and what did I say that for? And to me, that's all I want to do is I just want to be authentic. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to come out there and give some kind of canned show. Which
Yeah.
I thought was great that what you were doing was you and you could see the years, and that takes a long time to do. And that's one thing. Even though I hadn't done it in a long time, I had still been in the world of comedy, and I still, you get to the point where you go, I understand that you have to be real,
Yeah.
and I think that's the worst thing in the world when you go up and you just put on this tight show.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I look at my career that there's years, you look back, you go, yeah, that was 2 years. I was this guy. And then that 2 years I didn't feel like writing. So I was kind of like wrote, and then I got really bored with myself. And then this year I'm going to be the talking to the audience guy. I would try to find that fine line where I see a lot of comics like, you got to be real. And they go up and tell, really tragic stuff. I'm kind of this, okay, I'll get kind of real, but exaggerate some stuff. Luckily for me, over the past years, one special I had Bell's palsy, so that was a killing in 20 minutes. And then the last special I have vertigo. So as long as I keep having weird medical things, and I always have a new special.
That's great.
So that's how
my special. I'm gonna have all these horrible racial things happen to me, and then I'm gonna finally tell the world that they really happened to Hassan Majans or whatever his name is.
Right. Yeah, he's the guy that people busted him for saying, right, he embellished.
Yeah, he just like lying about stuff in his jokes to the point of like he didn't need to, you know what I mean? Like making himself seem like a hero, that type of shit.
Oh, okay. Not lying like, so I was at McDonald's today, whenever you're like, you weren't at McDonald's today, or that, that's happened to you. That type of lying. He was like, I was, I'm from a family of orphans.
Like yeah, right. Some shit like
that. Or like, a guy came up and told me we were with the FBI and we've been profiling you for a year because you're from the Middle East, and what it really was a good humor driver said, hey, can we park here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fine. Like, I saw Dana Carvey talking about comics who are like angry on stage, and it was so funny. He was riffing about a comic flying on a private jet, landing, doing an arena, getting on stage, and then complaining about the dry cleaner guy. Like, how are you just angry?
I saw that.
It just made me laugh.
Hysterical.
Yeah. So
it was hysterical. It was really great. And let me ask you a question. Do you where are you going now? What do you do? What's like a month in your life?
So I'm looking next year. I've actually been working on like some AI stuff. I want to book one theater using a chat bot. I know that sounds weird. We're talking about technology, but I'm obsessed with having a chat bot negotiate for you to book something. And I've been putting so much info into this chat bot about me. Like, I'll travel for this much money. If it's this far from my house, then I want this. I want to see. And I've uploaded contracts. I've done all this stuff because I want to put together this huge Michigan tour of like 10 cities, all going up the coast and down, doing like 300 to 500 seat theaters, not even big ones. But I want to almost book the whole thing using technology. That's my little weird experiment that I'm doing to see if I can do it. I have tech guys and we're working on it, and we're training this AI. So that's my big thing. But my next thing is I want to do a podcast, but then get real internet with better lighting and air conditioning in this room.
John, you're decades away from that. I have a feeling you're talking about 2060.
Yeah. I'll do it from whatever retirement home I live in. Yeah. I got big plans from like 60.
I don't think they're going to get internet in your neighborhood.
They actually
That
don't.
good,
I
man.
live in the only place. Jeff Daniels lives a couple like a little bit down from here, and I bet you he has got internet. I'm gonna ask him if I can do podcasts from his house. He's not there all the time. He's
I'm
an
telling
actor.
you,
He's
yeah.
he's probably got a
I don't know, man. I had another friend who lives in Ann Arbor. Same thing, man. And he just a friend, and we were zooming, and it was the same thing. It was like, I go, man, it's something about Michigan.
yeah, maybe that. Yeah, they don't. They try to keep all the info out. Maybe that's it. Is they're not. They don't want us to know what's going on.
I don't think Jeff Daniels has good internet. I can tell you that.
Yeah, right. So yes, he probably flies to Los Angeles to use, like, if he's got a Zoom call, he'll just go there. Or I'm sure his theater here in town has really good internet. But yeah, so
I doubt
I'll ask around.
I doubt it. I doubt it. Look at yeah. The Purple Rose. He probably doesn't even have internet there. I mean, they're still mimeographing the flyers there.
Yeah. I've gone to shows there, and to get tickets, you have to fax somebody. So you fax them, and then they fax you the ticket. So yeah, it's still that way.
God bless.
But yeah, that's my plan, is to keep doing stuff. And
he looks like, to me, Dave Coulier's uncle or something, or older brother.
Yeah, I see Dave. I see him online all the time. He's in Michigan building homes and stuff like, I did do this over COVID though. I wrote a spy book that I'm not bragging.
Oh, wow.
I sold 150 copies on Amazon.
That's
150
great.
copies. Yeah, so it's good,
That's
right?
great.
Yeah. So
The Holding Deal.
Yeah, it's about a comic who becomes a courier for a shady organization. So they make him win a fake reality show just to give him an alibi to put him on tour. And then he has to do a little thing, and he gets torn and conflicted and stuff. So he got a holding deal. Yeah. So it's
kind of Elmore Leonard kind of thing,
very, very much so. Yeah. So it was COVID. I needed something to do. Yeah. So last time I saw you physically was there's a picture of us at the Comedy Castle. We did a charity. I think you had, I don't know what your might have married, but like was, because you had your actor friend with you, who was super nice. I think he was on the TV show for HBO you did. Anyway.
Was it Taylor Nichols?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it was.
He's
I
from
forgot.
Michigan. Yeah,
I think we did a Gordie Howe. It was for like Gordie Howe.
That's right.
Was at the event. Yeah, there's a good picture of us at the castle with each other. Yeah,
that's right.
So
awesome, you're there. When are you there?
November 3rd to the 5th. Yeah, next weekend. So I don't know when this is on, but yeah, next weekend, November 3rd to. Do you talk?
Next weekend.
Yeah. And brother's fine. He's good.
Yeah, he's good. We're going to be back in Detroit not long for my mom's birthday. So
nice.
I'll tell him said hi.
Tell him I said hi, and I hope he's still sailing.
He is. Oh, a lot.
All right.
And tell Mark Ridley and all the guys I said hello, and tell your wife she needs to travel with you all the time.
I know. Right.
It's got to be constant. She's got to know your every new joke.
Yeah, she's going to be my AI. Yeah.
Perfect. That's right.
Yeah, sorry if this internet was shitting out. I literally turned off everything in my house and did it, so if it was really bad, I apologize. But
no, it's all good. And we're going to talk about your special, A Night in DC, right? Yeah,
the first one last year's was episodes. The new one is A Night in DC. So yeah.
Yeah, an 800-pound gorilla. So we're going to talk about that when you're gone.
Nice. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks. You too, man. Hope to see you soon.
All right, take care, guys.
Okay, John Heffron. Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting to talk to him. He said it's great that he's living back in Michigan. I know my buddy Dave Coulier, who is like my brother almost. He's unbelievable. I know he loves it back there, and Jeff Daniels loves it back there. It's a good place to live. It really is. But John has, you got to check out his special, Patrick. One Night in DC, and it was well shot. Those 800-pound gorilla guys, I don't know where they came up with that name. I would have called it 744-pound gorillas. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what that means, but they have they got some great guys. Great guys. When I say guys, I mean gals too. Gals, Martians, aliens, everything. But if you love stand-up, check them out. There's someone is always great on there. There's really them and Dry Bar and what's that other one? Don't Tell Comedy. I love that.
Yep.
That's
the new one.
Channel. Yeah. But check out John's One Night in DC, and his one before that was Episodes. And that's it. That's episode 45. And next week we have a killer. We have a very special guest that I've been waiting to get on here for a long time. Someone who I just think is a true genius. And I don't use that word a lot.
First time ever, I think.
Yeah, if you listen to this. But this guy is a genius. So episode 46. Be here next week. Thank you.